Hey, y'all. Hey, thank you for tuning in to the Voices of Change podcast with Coach Monique E. and Coach Danielle. Stay tuned for today's episode.
Yes, indeed.
To complete episode number 2. I am still excited. And, before we get into this episode, I just wanted to say and give a big shout out to everyone who has listened to episode 1 and who has followed us and who has already emailed and given us feedback. Monique, how are you feeling with all of this?
I am elated. I'm actually overwhelmed how God is using us as vessels upon this earth.
Yes.
How we are truly touching lives by just being our authentic selves. And by that, we're humble. And as long as we stay humble and submitted to His will, He can use us accordingly.
Yes. Y'all listen, what a struggle to record this episode. Okay, we told you we were going to keep it real with you. And, how many know that when you're on an assignment, every and anything will try you.
Yes,
it will try you. And that's how you know this is God sent. He wanted to test us, Mo, to see how far are you going to go to get this thing done.
Exactly.
This is something, and I haven't been challenged like this in a minute. And so I am grateful that God saw fit for us to do this. And what I want you all to know is, again, if you are listening, thank you. We ask that you follow us. Again, we ask that you give us feedback, and we'll give you all that information later. I just hope that you all are ready for this episode. Okay. The redemption episode. Okay. And this is part 1. And so we're going to allow Coach Mo to give some of her testimony. Now, remember, we can't give it all at one time, right?
Exactly.
And as we go through different topics, we will also give you some of our experiences. But we wanted to do this because we feel like we want you guys to know more about us and our journey, and just to inform you on, everything's not easy. We had our own battles. We had our struggles, and we're not afraid to talk about them anymore. We're not afraid to talk about them anymore. And so I'm going to allow Coach Mo to take the floor. And of course, I'm going to ask her some questions because, that's just the therapist in me, right?
This is my own personal session, y'all.
Yes. So, get ready, fasten your seatbelts, because she is coming, y'all. She is coming forth. And so again, we'll give you all of our information when we're done, but I'm going to hand this over to Coach Mo at this moment.
Hey fam, like Coach D said in the beginning, we welcome you all again to episode 2. And we just want you to feel comfortable, and we want to make sure that this is a safe haven, that you all can shed tears, that you can email us, that you can comment, like, share, and tell somebody about this podcast, because we want to get this message around the world. So again, she talked about this is the redemption part 1. And the reason why we called it redemption is because I suffered from several things. Identity crisis. I suffered from alcoholism. I suffered from marijuana addictions, and it consumed me, and it consumed the half of my life, actually. When I was just an adolescent, I was coming into my adulthood, and some things transpired with myself and my biological father. And when I tell this testimony, please do not think that this is a sympathetic moment. I am full of joy. I am grateful. I have forgiven him. I have moved on. And now I am healed to tell the testimony so that you also can be healed.
Yes.
With that being said, like I said, there was some things that transpired, and he did not live in our home. I did not know him. I wanted to get to know him. And because of that, I seeked and I searched for who he was. And when he did come into my life, he misused it. You know, he abused it. And it's only, and I want to say it's only because he was addicted to crack cocaine. He was a functional addict. He was a functional alcoholic. And because of those addictions, his habits, his behaviors were not as a normal human being. So when I got to know him, my mom, she warned me and my brother. She was just like, hey, this is who he is, and I want you all to stay away from him. But as a young girl, you long to know your father. I had a dad. Trust me, I had a dad, a stepdad, but I don't call him stepdad because he wasn't that. He was my daddy, and he still is my daddy to this day. So, going back to the story, I began to build a relationship, which I thought was a relationship, but in his head, it was more of a fantasy. And I say that because upon this day, I went over there, I smelled the cocaine. I should have ran, but I didn't.
Jesus.
Because like I said, we were building, I thought. Unfortunately, this particular day, he was high. High as all outdoors. So his actions were not the normal. And the next minute I knew, I was on a bed at 18 with this grown man on top of me, breathing out like he was a dragon because he was so high and he was sweating so profusely. And it scared me, of course. And I was shaking in my boots and I was looking for any and everything to get this man off me. I couldn't think that, okay, oh, this is my dad. No, I'm like, this Negro got to get up off of me right here today. So I was looking for anything. But God gave me the strength to finally push him off of me. And he, in the midst of that, and it was so traumatic, not only because here it is, he's my biological father. I'm thinking that he was supposed to be here to comfort me, to love me, to mold me and shape me into a young lady that God wanted me to be at the time, and that crushed every fiber of my being. As a young lady, it scarred me. It not only scarred me, it shattered me to pieces. So everything that I thought that men should have been, it just went out the door that day. The protector, the leader, the guider, it left that particular day. And from that day forward, yes, I did get out the house. No, he did not rape me, but the words that he said to me, it broke me. As a grown man, as my father, you should never speak these words upon your daughter and say, oh, baby, I love you, but not I love you in those ways of, oh, I'm your dad, I want to comfort you. Love. No, this was a sexual kind of love. And, oh, you're so pretty. And, oh, you look just like your mom. And I'm just like, Negro, please.
Wow.
And I'm laughing only because I'm healed. And it's just hilarious now because it's like, doggone it. If you did this to me, who did this to you?
Right.
You know, because patterns and habits follow us.
Yes.
If we do not break them. Not only did his weight come upon me far as his natural weight, because mind you, he is a 6'4". Back then, he was probably about 215 pounds. And I'm probably no more than $125.
Wow.
So all of this weight was on me, but I'm going to say something in the spiritual realm, because not only was that a heavy weight for me, he released other things upon me. He released the addictions on me. He released probably the fears on me.
Yes.
Instead of the arrow shooting in the positive manner, it affected me negatively. So that day, I kept saying in my mind, I'm never going to let a man touch me. I was just so hurt. But I didn't know that those words was as powerful as they were going to be. So
yes. And that was a question I wrote down, Coach Mo. It was like, how did that affect your relationship with men?
Oh my God. I still love men, but I was so afraid at that moment, and years even passed later until it took me a while to actually be in another relationship with a man. And I'm just going to be transparent. I would have preferred a woman over a man. And that's what I did. And it was just repeated cycles of dysfunctional, irregular relationships. Because, like I said, I numbed myself with alcohol. I numbed myself with marijuana. And I numbed myself with similar dysfunctional people. Not because, you say you love me. No, because I felt comfortable around your dysfunction or your behavior or your pattern. And hurt people, like I said in my book, Broken, Shattered, Yet Chosen, hurt other people.
My God.
And that's just what it was. It was one dysfunctional pattern after the other.
Wow.
So yes, I still to this day, I love men. Right now, I'm just at a point in my life of singleness and wholeness. And when I got out of my last relationship at 36.
How much of that would you speak to as far as generational curses?
It is. It was.
Wow.
And the only reason I say that, I'm like, okay, someone had to have hurt him this way.
Yeah.
In order for him to even behave in that manner, because the devil knows our patterns, our family lineage, the history. He watches each and every one of us to see, how can I trap her this way? How can I get him into this behavior? He may not have baited this way, but I know if I get him this way, he's gonna be hooked. And he hooked me. And only because I said those words, I never wanted to go to church again. I never wanted to deal with men again. It was just so many word curses that I was speaking over my life that I was not aware of at the time. And I'm like, Lord Jesus, you're going to have to help me, because if you don't, I'm through. Because I was anchored and hurt. I was indulged in hurt. And I thought hurt at the time was love because of who hurt me. And if all of you are out there listening, yes, we go through hurtful things. However, the hurt pushes us to who God wants us to be, because you have to understand that God knows all things. He knows all things about us. He knows all things that we're going to go through, and he knows our end story. And that's why we titled this Redemption. He knew this day on March the 30th at 3:28 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monique Russell would be speaking this message to you all, the listeners.
Wow. Wow. And this is why we have to keep pushing. We have to keep pushing, because God knows, he knows the plan. He knows where we're going to be, what we're going to be needed to do, and who we need to touch. He knows this. And so if we say we have faith, we can't say we have faith in this, but not in that.
Right.
And so I feel like, and this is what I tell clients as well, Coach Mo, is that it doesn't feel good when you're going through the process. You don't even understand why you're going through the process. You may even question God. You may even want to give up, but you have to keep pushing. You have to keep pushing. And so with that being said, how did you change all of this trauma and experiences? How did you transform that into fuel to get to where you are today?
Number one, therapy.
Yes, my goodness.
I am an advocate of therapy. Therapists, counselors, they navigated me. Even though I knew, it took a while for me to, number one, forgive.
Right.
And that's the number one thing you have to do. You have to forgive in order to move forward. And I know this may sound crazy. You're going to call me stupid. You're going to call me all kind of names. And I get that because I didn't understand it myself. However, when I did learn about forgiveness, I wrote down all the things that I needed to say to him. All the things that I needed to say to myself. I had to forgive him and I had to forgive Monique. And the reason I'm saying I had to forgive Monique because I wanted him to say he was sorry.
Right.
And he, till this day, has still not said he was sorry, and I have not talked to him. However, in my heart of hearts, I'm like, Lord, he owed me an apology. He's the one who did this. And God was like, okay.
Wow.
And this is how I talk to God. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to say sorry. I ain't did nothing. But God was like, you have to forgive yourself because you need to move forward. This is still going to be embedded in your heart if you don't. It's still going to be pulling on the back of your thought process if you do not. So I'm like, okay, God, let me follow your instructions because you know best. And again, it was a while before I could do that. It was a while before I could write that letter. It took a long while. It took almost from the time that happened, it took almost 18 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Healing doesn't come overnight, guys.
No, it doesn't.
And I'm not telling you it's going to come over a week, a year, 2 years, 3 years. No, it took me almost 18 years to heal.
Wow.
Now I can stand up and look him in the face and say, I forgive you. If that time ever comes. I couldn't do that 10 years ago.
Wow. Ooh, that was something because, and I didn't get this years ago when people used to tell me this, and they used to be like, forgiveness isn't for the other person. Forgiveness is for you.
It is.
Right? And what I teach is, when are you going to stop giving other people the authority over your own emotions? And that is how you release it through forgiveness and truly meaning it. It doesn't mean that to say, oh, I forgive you. And then 5 years later, you bring it up again. Right? And what I think what's happening is, people are learning to cope, but they're not healing.
Oh, that's so good.
They're not healing. They're coping. And what you need to understand is therapists, they're not your enemy. They're not. They're here to help you. They're here to make you uncomfortable because you're not going to make yourself uncomfortable. We're here to push you and tap into why you are feeling the way you feel, what caused it, and then not stay stuck in that moment, but how do you push through it? How do you use it as fuel to get you to where you need to go?
But not only that, Coach D, it helps pull off the layers of pain. Because we suppress and we suppress until it comes so thick. And like you said, the coping mechanism of everything. So when we begin to pull off those layers of pain, you begin to underlay and see the root cause of where it all started from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I know where my pain started from. And in my book, I said I had to go back to their place. There where that little girl got hurt. There where that little girl got shattered, disappointed, mishandled, misused. And I had to go back there and pick her back up and heal her. And once she began to heal, the grown woman in me began to heal.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And that's where the world is so abusing love, because it's like, okay, I want to be in a relationship, but you know good and well you're not healed. So you want to bring your broken pieces to someone else who probably have broken pieces, and you want to make a whole relationship.
Right.
How on earth is that going to happen?
Right. Right.
And you wonder why this is not working out for me, or he ain't doing this. He can't. She can't, because you all need to heal.
Exactly. Yep. Yep. And I think that's what's happening, is that we're broken. There's people that are broken. And like I said, they're not healing. And then when they get in these relationships, they're expecting this person to heal them. You can't do that. You have to do the healing yourself.
Exactly.
So that you can bring 100% into a relationship. I don't know where this 50-50 thing came from. You know how people say, oh, this is a 50-50 thing. No. I need you to come, not perfect, but 100% of effort. It should be coming from both of us, right?
Yes.
And if you have two broken people, there's no way you can have a healthy relationship. There's no way.
Right.
There is no way. And, we're in hopes that listening to our testimonies and things we've gone through is going to allow you to understand that transparency is key.
It is. Stop
covering up things and thinking that it's because people live in dysfunction for so long, it becomes their norm. Right. And so, we're always, pinpointing things on other people when we have to look internally first.
Right.
And properly heal. Right. It's almost as if I see some people, they're healing. They're almost there. They're doing the work. And then all of a sudden they think, oh, okay, I'm good. And it's almost like they're putting themselves in a situation where they're just ripping scabs off. What? And it can never really 100% heal. Exactly. Right. And so everyone's healing journey is different. It looks different. The timing is different. And, I had Coach Mo, it's funny because I had a client one time come to me and say, I would like to seek therapy, but I'm hoping that this can be done within 3 months.
Wow.
And I said, I want you to really think about this, and I need you to come back to me when you're ready, because I cannot guarantee you a healing in 3 months. I can't guarantee you a healing in a year. You have to do the work. And if you're consistent, you'll start to see a change. You'll start to see things differently. But you cannot put a time limit on someone's healing.
Most definitely can't.
Right? And so if you need the help, seek it. Get the therapy. There's nothing wrong with that. It's actually showing strength when you can say, you know what? I realize there's something going on with me. I want to heal. And I've also heard where people say, I've gone to therapy and I just don't like it. I didn't like the therapist and, I'm done. Well, I say to them, okay, I understand. I get it. I get it. But when you go to a regular doctor, regular PCP, and you don't like that doctor, do you stop going to doctors? No, you get on that computer and you find you a new doctor. Am I right? So it's the same exact thing. The way you take care of your body is the same way you need to take care of your mind. I also say insurances should at least offer, just like we have an annual physical, we need to have annual physicals of the mind.
We sure do. We sure
just
do.
Pay it. Just check in. And I say it should happen at least every 3 months. 3 to 6 months.
But you do know one thing I will put out there, because I used it. There is a program for those of you who work a 9-to-5 job. Most insurance companies have this. Most companies have this. It's called an EAP program, Employee Assistance Program, EAP. And what it does is offers 6 free counseling sessions. That's through a therapist, that's through a life coach, that's through a counselor.
Yes.
So again, it's called EAP. Go to your HR department or your manager and ask them for that information, because I know a lot of people out there want to go, but they don't or cannot afford the payment.
Right.
So that's a freebie.
Yep. Use it. I'm telling you, it's
Please
worth
use
it.
it.
If you don't like the person, get another one. Just keep trying until you find that fit, because one size does not fit all. Exactly. It does not fit all. And it's a relationship. So you have to feel good with this person. You have to feel safe with this person. So don't give up. Keep looking. Keep going, because the more you put into yourself, the more you're going to see a better end result. Okay. And go ahead.
The key thing, Coach D, you have to be willing to open up when you do find the individual. You have to be willing to open up. I know it's scary. I know it doesn't feel comfortable, but you have to be willing to feel safe enough to open up. That's the only way that the wholeness will start.
Absolutely. And we want to be made whole. That's my thing. I want to be made whole. I don't want any imbalances. I want to live. That's what I call a healthy life. It's balance, not perfection, but balance. And I'm able to balance things. I'm able to catch things right away when something's not feeling right with me. Right. And so I will tell you, because I get this question a lot. Well, do you have your own therapist? Yes, I have a mentor, and she's a psychologist. And it's funny because we end up being each other's, therapists. But we have to, if a therapist does not have a mentor or a therapist, run.
Exactly.
They need to decompress. There is a lot that we intake daily, a lot. And you cannot walk away with it. We're human, so we have emotions. It's not that I sit there and don't feel what people are feeling, because I do. Right. So I have to make sure before I leave this office that I don't carry anything out with me. Right. So I meet with her weekly, and we talk back and forth. We talk about different things, cases, but then we talk about us. How are we doing? Right. We need to be good so that we can continue to help people and be effective. That's the key word, effective. Right. We want to be effective. And so when it comes to people's minds, we have to be on point.
Yes,
we have to be on point. Even as coaches, we have to be on point.
Yes.
So as Coach Mo said, make sure, check yourself. If you need the help, get it. It's nothing wrong with it. It is confidential. No one will know that you're seeing a therapist. Although my clients, they don't care. They'll tell you in a minute. Yes, I have a therapist. Her name is Danielle Richardson. And, they're proud because they see the result from it. Once you start to see the result, that is motivation for you to continue to keep going. Right?
Yes, indeed.
Anything else you want to add, Mo? This was amazing.
What I want to let you all have a takeaway from, number one, don't be afraid to seek help. Do not be afraid to seek help. As Coach D mentioned, the minute that there is an issue or a problem within self, please get that thing checked out.
Yes.
And I'm saying it as real as I possibly can, because you need to be whole. You need to heal from past hurt, from past trauma, from past people and past problems, even past self. Because you cannot be your full authentic self until you heal.
Yes.
And number two, don't be afraid to let somebody know that you want help. I know in the Black culture, we like to keep secrets and hide things. 2023 is not, it's time out for that.
Right.
You need to let somebody know that you need help. Don't be afraid to ask. Say, hey girl, hey man, I need some help. And guess what? I'm sure that they will lead you to the right person.
Yeah.
So that's all I have to say, Coach D. I am so secure in who I am. I am a woman of God. I am a life coach. I'm a mother. I'm a friend. I'm a sister. I'm an aunt. And most of all, I am your host of Voices of Change.
Yes. And we thank you all for tuning in. And again, this episode was the redemption part 1. So you know there's going to be a part 2. So we're going to talk about a little bit about my journey. I'll just give you a little bit for the next episode. I'm not sure it'll be the one right after this, but there will definitely be a part 2. We've also have had people reach out to us. We have asked them if they would like to share their story, and they are up for it. So look out for that as well. And remember, if you need the help, get the help.
Yes.
Okay. We're out, and we'll talk to you with our next episode. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Guys, don't forget to get your copy of Coach Monique's book, Broken, Shattered, Yet Chosen, at Amazon.com or MoniqueEmpowers.com. Don't forget to reach out to us if you need to at vocpodcast22@gmail.com.